as I said, I don't remember where that came from, what sources inspired me, but I hoped from the very beginning that we could serve the entire community.
Right. So there wouldn't be that any kind of, in other words, try to fill in as many gaps as possible, address as many needs as possible, which I think definitely that's a good way to go. Good vision to develop is how far out can we go and make sure that we don't leave anybody behind.
Yeah, I mean, if you've experienced the services of the Writing Center yourself, you're much more likely, assuming you've had a good experience, to recommend those services to other people.
Yeah, and I think it's just like any other, service, because there is a level of customer service, if you will, but not in the broader sense, but in a more specific sense. The one-on-one, the ability to greet somebody, kind of bring them into this space and make them feel safe, make them feel welcome. Because I think we've all, unfortunately, anybody out there listening, and us in this room included, you've gone somewhere, whether it's a retail outlet or maybe you're at just anywhere where you're looking for assistance of some kind, and you feel a little bit vulnerable. Right. Sure.
If you can't catch the eye of the waiter or the salesperson,
that timid. Never mind. I'll just deal with cold food. I'll be fine. But or we get their attention, and we don't always feel as if maybe like they're being bothered in some way or something. And I know that I always strive to smile and welcome them as best as I can. And it's not always easy because there may be a point at which somebody may be working on, a consultant may be working on a project or working on something, and somebody kind of catches them off guard. But that's no excuse to be rude by any chance or unwelcoming, because this is a place of, again, welcome, home. We had a little bit of a campaign in the spring of 2014. We had the home, the Writing Center should feel like home. And we had, I don't know if it happened to you, but it happened to me, a couple of students go, yeah, I saw that on the digital board.
The electric signage.
Yeah, and I felt that was a good way of representing the Writing Center, is it does feel like home a lot of times.
I remember we did a bit of signage where I think you were developing a visual connected with something that a student said in a survey about, the Writing Center is my new home.
Right. Yeah. And I've heard that sentiment echoed several times in different ways, but it kind of feels the same. I'm like, oh, so what you're saying is this is like a home. And I think that's something that should be heard.
Well, you said it. It's coming in is really airing your vulnerability.
Yeah.
You're airing a weakness in a sense. Yeah. And then it's not coming into a writing center. This is not the place where we're going to say, haha, you can't write.
Exactly, yeah. No.
That's not,
that's not our goal. That's
I think
not our
recently what we've tacked on and what Dr. Kumar has tacked on is also, it's a judgment-free zone.
Right.
This is, we're not going to look at you and say, oh, you can't write, sorry.
We've all, because I think we've all been in a situation of personal vulnerability, again, like I said, where it's in the outside world or if it's in academia, for any of us, where I can remember bringing in my papers as a returning student 10 years out of the traditional model of a student. I came back as a non-traditional, and I was very concerned about my math skills, my writing skills, all those kind of things. And we have the non-traditionals of students, just the same as we have the
earlier when we were talking about how we're kind of the ER, kind of
the repairing,
the clinic kind of type of repairing, and I think what the part of it serves is also kind of a rehab.
Right.
Yeah.
We're addressed, for those that are coming in that are non-traditional, that have been out of the educational world and they're coming back in and they're writing papers. I think also we get a good number who kind of need to rehabilitate maybe bad habits learned.
Oh no, totally, definitely. I agree.
We're coming in from potential high schools that didn't necessarily
address all of those needs that they may have.
And so that's something that we tackle as well.
Yeah. And I know for me,
Not
I
actually tackle guys. We're not going to tackle you.
Yeah. I don't know. No. But yeah, I mean, I've come across that where one of the first things that's said is, I I came from somewhere that didn't quite emphasize writing.
Oh, yes.
So I'm very concerned, and I'm a little nervous, or I'm very concerned.
Or I've been out of school for 20 years and I
Exactly.
haven't written anything
You
except
know.
grocery lists.
Exactly, and I actually had somebody tell me that exact same
Yeah.
thing.
Ooh.
I'm a master at writing grocery lists,
Mm-hmm.
but that is very true, and this is the kind of the place, I think, for those, all are welcome, basically, is the way I look at it. And there's a phrase that I was gonna pull from the ether that I think was gonna be perfect, but it's not perfect. So, was there anything else, Dr. Danis or Sabrina, that we want to kind of address? Do you feel that you've kind of expressed as much of your, I say this phrase very sincere, wisdom, because I think because of your history, your education, my goal, my hope for this series is, yeah, sure, if someone can be entertained, that's great, but I want them to be informed and take it from somebody who has, again, a background that is not just, every day, because I think you have that education, you have that personality, you have that almost legacy about you that I think many people can learn from you. Again, so whoever's listening may not be intending to start a writing center, but if there are students somewhere else in the United States or in other parts of the world, and they are concerned, and they may have access to student services that they may not be using, I think they can learn a lot from those experiences and our experiences too as writing consultants. So, any parting thoughts, words?
One of the things that comes to mind is the value of quote, hand-holding.
Right.
I think, we've been talking a lot about vulnerability.
Right.
And for some of us, no matter how old we are, going into a new situation for the first time is more comfortable if we can go with somebody who has been there or knows it. And it might not be a threatening situation at all, or it might be having somebody go to the doctor with you, or just kind of sit there and keep you distracted while you're waiting to see the doctor.
Correct.
Or even something nice like, okay, well, I've never been to this museum before,
Right.
and I don't know what to expect, or to this bookstore, can we go together? And I think if faculty members could bring students over here,
Yes.
or if other people, friends could bring friends, that would be helpful.
I've had that
And
happen.
good. And from the standpoint of the writer, if a student feels that I maybe would benefit from going to the writing center, but I don't know what to expect, and I don't know, I've never been in that particular room before.
That building.
I don't know if I would be comfortable. Maybe I could ask somebody, could you
Right.
walk over there with me?
Right.
And, is it okay if I just tell people, I just want to look around and I just want to see what's here, and can I watch a little bit?
Yes.
So yeah, I think both from the standpoint of the person who's using the services and from the standpoint of the people who are trying to promote their students and friends, etc., using the services. Yeah, a little bit of a buddy system could be very helpful.
And I think it's interesting you say that, because I've a couple times in our new space and several times in the previous space, I've had students just like, is it okay if I just kind of look around?
Good,
Sit down?
good.
By all means, help
Uh-huh.
yourself. Make
Can they
yourself
come in
at
and
home.
ask, what do y'all do here?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's our time to like, well, take
Uh-huh.
a seat, let's talk.
Yeah.
And I've had that interface a couple times, and like, oh, well then can I come back later? sure, but let's get you set up in our system so that you can go ahead, so
Right.
you start get the process going so that it's easier for them to make an appointment at a later time.
Yeah.
And that way they're more familiar. They're not coming back completely, wait a minute, I was here, but how do I do this?
Yeah.
So,
Right,
just ingratiating them into
Yeah.
that process.
And one of the things I don't think I ever did when I visited classes to promote the center was to show one of the many short videos of a session going on.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of those available. I think for, if you've got a whole class full of people and you don't want to take the time to trot them over to the center, at least showing them, this is a writing center. It isn't ours, or it could be,
Right.
but this is what could happen,
Mm-hmm.
and here's how it goes, and that doesn't look so terribly threatening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think that is coming back to what we've said already. Intimidation,
Right.
can very much sink the best of intentions from a student, and so we want to do our best to defray that possibility. But any other ideas, concepts?
What's neat is some of, I was thinking about it, Dr. Danis, as you were talking about some of the things you envisioned and some of the goals you had for the center. It's interesting to look at it now and see how it's kind of come to fruition, in the sense of you started kind of with, the head of tutoring services and such, and now we're a combined, we're sitting in a combined, a newly branded center, the Academic Center for Excellence, which is writing, peer tutoring, and the upcoming math and SI lab.
Right.
And it's building into one big area, one big
The
resource
the commons,
Right.
learning
under
commons
student
type.
success,
Right. And it's in the place where you said initially it had been offered in the library.
Even the faculty, this semester we had some faculty bring students,
Yes.
bring their classes.
Mm-hmm.
We gave them tours. We talked to them about what we could do, and
Recruitment
yeah,
has come through here.
recruitment has come. We've had a lot of
Good.
administration, a lot more faculty. We had a lot more faculty last semester visit us and say,
Yeah.
what exactly can y'all do if we send our students to you? Talk to them and say, oh my gosh, this is a great resource.
Right.
Right.
So I mean, and I think that's the word is out. I guess you could say, and it has been, but we're seeing much more of that part of your vision, I guess, come to fruition, as Sabrina said.
That's
And
exciting.
it is very exciting, and that's, I think, another one of the reasons why we want to put these out there. Put these conversations. And I think conversation's always good to develop ideas and to help us. Like again, the conversation we have with students. The revision process, the I'm just beginning process. So I think maybe hopefully this will start as a platform for anybody wanting to revise something, administratively and get some ideas, or where do I start? So I must say I've been had a very, very good time with these conversations. I feel very very lucky to be a part of these conversations. I want
Me
to thank
too.
you, Dr. Danis, for making some time to speak with us and speak with our listeners, and thank you, Sabrina, for braving the elements to make it in today.
Elements, nothing. It's just
Elements,
my vocal
elements.
cords that are having the problem.
They haven't woken up today.
No.
So everybody, thank you for listening to the Danis Files, and we'll get back to you later.
Bye.